Здравствуйте, дорогие товарищи! В эфире программа Ushanka Show. Hello, comrades, and welcome back to another episode of Ushanka Show, stories about life in the Soviet Union. My name is Sergey, and back in 1971 I was born in the USSR. Меня зовут Сергей, я родился в Советском Союзе. So one of the challenges when you talk about life in the Soviet Union, especially when you talk about shopping and prices, and it's very challenging to make a comparison, like to compare prices, for example, in modern America to what was in the Soviet Union. And quite often people are not happy with my comparison, and I totally get it. I'm not a professional economist. I don't have any degree in economy, but I'm trying to just to kind of compare, apples to apples, but, have Soviet apples and American apples. So it's very hard. And it's hard for many reasons. We have a central plan economy and government dictated prices in the Soviet Union versus somewhat market economy in the United States when a price being dictated by demand and supply. So it's very challenging. There is no doubt about that. And of course, I'm not the only one who struggles with that. And actually, one of the popular Russian newspapers, it used to be a Soviet newspaper called Argumenty и Fakty. The name sounds really kind of silly in English, but it's Arguments and Facts. So they attempted to compare prices in Soviet Union and in modern Russia, but it's in 2019. Of course, it's a little bit easier to compare Soviet apples with Russian apples, but still they decided to look at it from a different angle and compare prices relating to gold. I don't know how many of my viewers are so-called golden bugs or gold bugs, the people who invest in gold, but it's a really interesting commodity, and that has actually quite curious relations, for example, between housing prices and gold prices. And there's interesting charts out there that you could see they actually like follow each other, plus and minus when we have bubbles, gold bubble or real estate bubble. So what this newspaper did, Argumenty Fakty, they took price of gold in 1985 and prices of gold in 2019, and then they matched prices for goods, and then they looked like, okay, how much will be the same product in 2019 based on the gold price? We got, used to be Soviet rubles, now we got Russian rubles, but you have a common denominator, gold and product. So let's take a look. Okay, so the first price point is the bus ride. So we have public transportation, city bus. In 1985, the cost of one ride was 5 kopecks, so 5 cents. In 2019, it became 25 rubles. So sounded like a huge jump, right? But if you use the common denominator, gold, to match the price of 5 kopecks in 1985, in 2019, bus ride should be 16 rubles. So as you see, since it was quite heavily subsidized by Soviet government, prices for bus ride went quite a bit higher than used to be during the Soviet days. So it's not double, but 1.5 about that. So quite a jump. So it was way cheaper to ride the bus during the Soviet days. So second item we're going to look at was kartoffel, so potatoes. Back in the Soviet days, the price was 15 kopecks per kilogram. Now it's 26 rubles per kilogram. But if you use once again gold, the Soviet price of 15 kopecks would correspond to 48 rubles in modern Russia. So potatoes actually became cheaper in Russia versus potatoes in Soviet Union, and pretty much almost twice cheaper, which is quite impressive. I mean, potatoes were a huge popular staple for the Soviet people. So the fact that prices actually collapsed for potatoes in modern Russia, I find extremely interesting. And remember when I made that video about people making cellars, digging them in the cities, and going to dacha and planting potatoes. So potatoes were quite expensive during Soviet days, and they became almost twice cheaper in modern Russia. Next item, Muka. Muka is a flour. During the Soviet days, the price was 35 kopecks. Right now, price is 36 rubles. After applying common gold denominator, we see that the 35 kopecks should be currently 112 rubles. Here we have a huge difference. It's almost 3 times flour in modern Russia became cheaper than we had flour in the Soviet Union. This is very impressive because once again we consumed a lot of bread, a lot of products made from Muka, from flour. So the fact that Soviet people paid 3 times more than modern Russians pay, that I find it extremely interesting. And I mentioned that already many times. In modern days, Russia, without collective farms, became #1 exporter of wheat in the world. They are ahead of the United States, they are ahead of Canada, they are ahead of Australia. So collective farmers are gone, and this is without Ukraine. Ukraine is #5. So huge changes happen in agriculture in modern Russia and modern Ukraine. Before, a mighty Soviet Union had to spend millions of dollars every year buying wheat from Canada, United States, Australia, Argentina. Now they sell millions of dollars worth of wheat all over the world. This is how huge the difference, and that reflects in the price. Our flour was 3-4 times pretty much more expensive during the Soviet days when we apply a gold denominator than it's in modern Russia. Next item, сахар, sugar. In Russian language, it's kind of interesting. We say сахарный песок, so it's like sugar sand. So if the sugar comes in that normal form, it's called sugar sand because it looks like sand, right? And then sugar can come in blocks, and that's a сахар рафинад. They had a little bit different price point. So sugar during the Soviet days, it says 86 kopecks per kilogram. I remember 79 kopecks per kilogram in Ukraine, and now it's 46 rubles. Adjusted to the price of gold, 86 kopecks should be right now 275 rubles per kilogram. And in Russia, they have 46 rubles per kilogram. This is huge difference. It's 6 times sugar cheaper now in modern Russia than it was in the Soviet Union. 6 times. It's a lot. I mean, you can buy 6 kilograms of sugar for the same money that Soviet people could buy only 1. That's impressive. Next item, молоко. Молоко, milk. Soviet price 36 kopecks per liter. Modern Russia price 55 rubles per liter. With gold denominator, it's 115 rubles per liter Soviet price. So in modern Russia, milk is twice cheaper than it used to be in the Soviet Union. And of course, another fact you need to remember that you could buy milk in the Soviet Union like in these silly pyramid packages, or you could buy them на разлив, so there'll be this aluminum container, and it's unpasteurized, and quite often sellers will add water to milk so they can take some milk for free home. So besides paying twice more money for milk back in the Soviet days, you also could be diluted with milk quite heavily. So it's, considering watering down the product, milk in the Soviet Union was even more expensive. And one more grocery item, сливочное масло. Масло, which means butter. Soviet Union price 3 rubles 42 kopecks per kilogram. Modern Russia 569 rubles per kilogram. So we always looked at the kilogram prices because that's how usually we're buying goods were priced, and then of course you just buy 200 grams or 300 grams and they'll cut you the chunk of that weight, so like deli style. So the Soviet price in modern days, in modern Russia, was using gold, should be 1,093 rubles. So that's double, right? So butter also got cheaper. It was twice more expensive in the Soviet Union. I don't want to get into the details about quality. once again, when you buy butter in the Soviet Union, they could trim 10, 20 grams of your purchase, making your butter more expensive. But just looking at numbers, butter also became way cheaper in modern Russia comparing with the Soviet Union. Okay, so we're done with grocery items. Let's look at some other consumer goods. And here we have хлопчата бумажные ткани. So that's the fabric made out of cotton. And I never thought it was like it's a cotton paper fabric. That's how you translate it. And they goofed it up. Fabric is in meters squared, not the meters cubed. It's not the volume, it's just the surface. But back in the Soviet days, price for the square meter of fabric, so it's 100 centimeters by 100 centimeters, was 1 ruble 49 kopecks, and in modern Russia, it's 117 rubles. Let's add a little gold flavor, and $1.49 it turns into 476 rubles. So fabrics in the Soviet Union were 4 times more expensive than in modern Russia. I mean, this is huge. I mean, it's what, 400%? And that's a lot of money that the Soviet consumer had to pay. And then on the top of it, of course, we had shortage of these fabrics. So you had a hard time buying them and you paid through your nose. Okay, our next item is наручные часы. So that's wristwatches. Price during the Soviet days, 23 rubles 64 kopecks. Modern Russia, 2020 rubles. Soviet price adjusted to gold prices, 7,558 rubles. So it's easy, more than triple the price. So watches got way cheaper. Of course, we can talk about China and Chinese watches, but 3 times Soviet watches were more expensive back in the day. Next item is пылесос. Пылесос, which is vacuum cleaner. It's an interesting word. Пыль is dust. Is sauce is like сосать, so it's a sucker, so it's a dust sucker. That's how you translate пылесос, vacuum cleaner. Soviet price 41 rubles 75 kopecks. It actually sounded cheap. For some reason, for me, price for the vacuum cleaners I think was around 70 rubles. I need to check it, but we just go with that. Modern Russia 7,269 rubles. But I believe in modern Russia, no one manufactures vacuum cleaners anymore. They all probably come from China, just like it happens right now in the United States. But Soviet price through the gold is 13,348 rubles. So once again, double. Soviet vacuum cleaners were twice more expensive than modern day Russia. And as I said, I swear vacuum cleaner was more expensive than 41 ruble. Okay, and the last item is the big ticket item, цветной телевизор, color TV. I have to say this joke. So the blonde chick comes to the Best Buy and she's like, do you guys carry color TVs? Of course. Which one would you like? I would like to buy a pink one. This one is quite interesting because my family purchased color TV for the very first time back in 1986 and we paid, I swear, 650 rubles on payments. We didn't have that much money available. I mean, we did have on savings, but my mom didn't want to dip into it. So using payments, рассрочка, 650 rubles. Modern Russia, once again, Chinese TVs, 23,184 rubles. And this is a real kicker. The price difference in Soviet prices through the gold, 205,899 rubles. So basically almost 10 times Soviet TV were more expensive in Soviet Union than modern days. But as I said, with TVs, with all that modern technology, how cheap they became. I mean, if you're talking about screen size, but other thing, but still, I knew the TVs were extremely expensive. Like 644 rubles. This is pretty much 6 months of one person's salary. You work for 6 months to buy a TV. That's a lot of money. So TVs were extremely expensive in the Soviet Union. And definitely government was trying to make extra profit on those items. And while we're on the topic of the color TVs, I want to show you different math. So in average, if people had a 2-room apartment and they rented, utilities and everything, housing cost will be about 10 rubles, 13 rubles per month. So if you look at the price of the color TV in the Soviet Union, 644 rubles, and paying 10 rubles per month for your apartment, this TV is equal 5 annual. So you can pay for 5 years living in your apartment, or you can buy a TV. Now, if you apply that to the cost of renting an apartment in New York City, how much would you have to pay for 5 years to rent an apartment, small 2-room apartment in New York City, or even in small Michigan town? This is how expensive were Soviet TV, and how cheap was subsidized housing in the Soviet Union. It's just the prices so across the board, it's just wild. But anyway, I just thought it was kind of interesting comparison. So one color TV equal 5 years of paying rent for your small 2-room apartment. Okay, my friend, that's all I have for you today. I found it extremely interesting, do price comparison using gold as a common denominator. I'm super curious what you think about that, so please post your comments, your thoughts under this video. Don't forget to like it, maybe share with your friends, and we'll talk to you soon. До свидания, goodbye. Is available at the Ushanka store at teespring.com. Just a friendly reminder that my book American Diaries is available on amazon.com, or shoot me an email if you would like to have a signed copy. Thank you. And if you love my channel and would like to show your support, please click on the link below this video and become the patron of the Ushanka Show. For as little as $1, you can help us grow and create the new interesting videos about the life in Soviet